Hello, good morning, respected sir. Dr. Ajay Kumar, Director of Tecnia Institute for Advanced Studies, Dr. Namita Madam, Head of the TNP Cell and Nodal Officer of IIC, and all respected sir and madam and dear friends. Today, Tecnia Institute of Advanced Studies going to organize a national webinar on the topic of awareness of intellectual property right under the National Intellectual Property Awareness Mission, NIPAM. Our resource person is Dr. D. Usarao. Dr. D. Rao, she is a PhD in microbiology and working in the Intellectual Property Office, Delhi since 2003. She has vast experience in granting patent in the field of biopharma. She was deputy in Ministry of Commerce and Industry for 4 years as an expert in patents and design in CIPM team. She has contributed in various patents and design rule amendment to IPR system in India. She is part of team of spread awareness about innovation and intellectual property rights. She has visited intellectual office like European Patent Office, World Intellectual Property Office Geneva, and Japan Patent Office to present India's views on various aspects of intellectual property right. Welcome to Dr. Diusarao and welcome to all students and library professionals. Over to Dr. Diusarao.
I feel privileged to introduce to you to the director of the college, Dr. Ajay Kumar. He is he has some experience of 25 years of experience in industry and academia, and presently his leadership has made the Tecnia one of the most notable institution in the Delhi. So with this very humble beginning, sir, I would request you to come forward and speak few words to us on this particular webinar. Thank you so much, sir.
First of all, I would like to congratulate our Institute Innovation Council. They have got formally the certificate of 3.5 rating on the scale of 5 from Institute Innovation Cell of Ministry of Education today. Yesterday also we have got a program with the AICD where Kapila, uh, uh, Kalam program for IP literacy and awareness, which was there among the students and faculty members, how the IP is to be filed, how, what are the mechanisms, what are the methodologies, what are the involvement in filing of IP in India and globally, especially among the students and the faculty of the higher education. And they have taken it as innovation and the best practices in the higher education. They are, if they are capitalized, recognizing the institute for facilitating the intellectual property rights, bring in the culture of systematically protecting new ideas, research, and innovation having a national and a global relevance. So the expected outcome starts with the awareness, establishing the required IP filing ecosystem, program for set the foundation of the institute's participation in Ministry of Education, Innovation, Entrepreneurship Initiative through IIC, through ARIA, through hackathons, through national innovation contests, through Yukti 2.0 and related program of MIC and AICT, strengthening the connection of the institutions located in the Himalayan or Northeastern region, aspirational district with the national innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem enablers, active participation in involvement of students, faculties, and staff, sensitizing with the vibrant IP filing ecosystem or in the HEI. Filing at least, we are hoping that this year 10,000 patent applications per year is target which we have to put up as collectively. Application processing systems, online submission of shortlisted applications, title of the patent, date of patent filed, application, co-applicant details, copy of the receipt of the patent application fee by the institute through Kapila portal, screening and scrutiny of the submitting applications to check for the correction of data at the institute level. Then final decisions will be taken by the Ministry of Education Innovation Cell, MIC, keeping in view the expert committee recommendations and availability of funds of the scheme. Funds will be provided by the Kapila. After the MIC approval, sanctions grant will be sent to the institute on reimbursement mode. So there are various guidelines, there are various unique innovative systems and the committee documentation would be there for filing, and they are giving a maximum amount per institute 56,000. They have given us that this will be taken up very shortly. So a disbursement of funds, maximum 50% of shortlisted application will be funded on the reimbursement mode after submitting the receipt of the patent application filing fee and examination fee. And here they have made a demarcation line with reference to the sufficient IPR and translated to commercialization. Alumni and the industry experts having experience in the technology commercializations, legal advisors having an IPR exposure, and then the pre-incubator and the incubator system in the institute, so that the students will be able to use those IPRs patents for the advantage of the commercial version. So I'm conscious that our conscious efforts towards intellectual property rights. This particular paper is also there in MBA and BBA program, intellectual property rights, laws, intellectual property rights. So we have to take up the national IPR policy. So what exactly national IPR policy, which is looking forward for enhancing the creativity, innovation, competitiveness, and economic growth of India, and towards a 5 trillion economy. Young generation, budding generation will have to take up the mantle with regard to take the institution, our country to a $1 trillion economy in time to come. So with this, I feel that the topic is most apt, dynamic one, and continuously improvements and the inputs are required from external, and we are also having a planning that the contests from the European Union, we are having a collaboration with European unions and those students who are filing a patents and startups on the idea generation. They will be giving some kind of prize to the students also. So start doing innovation, start doing practice the patents to be filed, and we have feeling that the competition is with the China. And if you look toward the China is very fast, small tangent, and they will make a new patent. So filing of the patent is in the very high note as far as China is concerned. And now the our system is Indian government is also spearheading the things as far as patent recognition and movement of these things are concerned. So now the process has becoming lot more, you can say, through the awareness drive, lot more vibrant. And in time to come, we will see that's going to reap fruits on these fronts as well. All the HEIs um, earlier doing the teaching work. Now the teaching without research is of no value, and a research without teaching is no value. There are various organizations who are doing research and they are not teaching, then also it's not value. So it's the research and teaching is the two sides of the same coin, the two sides of the same coin. So we cannot bifurcate those things out of the ambit of the academic persona. So I feel that now the things are conscious and we are deliberate efforts are been taken up in the matter. And I feel that Dr. D. Usha Rao, she is going to be giving us the as an assistant controller of patents and design from Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and being a PhD in microbiology and working in intellectual property of it since 2003. So she will be a quite apt and resource person who can be able to deliver the right kind of mental, and all the participant in this today's IPR, they will be having a new learning experience. A new learning curve will be established. So creative India, innovative India is a theme, the things which we feel it is apt. So we have to make creativity in our blood, and then we have to have innovatives. So creative, innovative, competitiveness and economic growth of the country. This is a national IPR policies, basic guidelines. So creativity, enhancing the creativity, enhancing the innovation, enhancing the competitiveness, and ultimately we have to go for the economic growth of India. So with these words, I put silence to the my deliberations, and I feel that Dr. D.O. Sharaf and other panelists will be able to do justice with the topic, and students will be having a new enlightening experience with their talk on the system on the topic. Thank you very much, and God bless you on the eve of 75th Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, 75th anniversary of our nation on that issue. So I feel that congratulations to all the fellow citizens of the country, and let's make the nation great. Thank you very much.
Yes, madam, please continue.
Yeah, so good morning, everyone, and it is a pleasure to be part of this awareness program. It is, I have heard Dr. Ajay, and I'm really impressed by the way, this institute of yours has uh, such a lot of potential, and the students have such a lot of potential, especially with someone like Dr. Ajay guiding them, because he has actually talked about what the government's vision is. And if every institute in India talks about these aspects, then no one can stop India from marching ahead. So thank you, Dr. Ajay, and it has been a very, very nice inputs from you about the program and about what the country actually requires. And especially, you are the mentor and the guide for the students. And these students, you actually mold them. So whatever you have told today will actually go a long way in molding them, the way the students will think about these aspects. So thank you once again, Dr. Anil, for inviting me for this program. And I hope we have a good session, and I'm able to communicate what is intellectual property rights and how they are important for a country, right? So now I will start my presentation. So we all meet today for the Intellectual Property Rights Awareness Program, which is being conducted under the National Intellectual Property Awareness Mission. And this is an initiative that has been launched by the Office of the Controller General of Patents, Designs and Trademarks. This is under the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. So we have the Office of the Controller General of Patents, Designs and Trademarks has launched this program to celebrate 75 years of independence, that is Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. And as Dr. Ajay has correctly pointed out, that under the National Intellectual Property Rights Policy, which was launched in 2016, the government has been pushing for for a creative India and an innovative India. It is that it is not at all that Indians are not creative or innovative, but we are not protecting, or we are not doing sufficient uh, work to protect it as an intellectual property right. And so this mission actually aims to ignite or to inspire students, especially students, so that they are able to be more creative and more innovative. And this will contribute to a more vibrant socio-economic India, right? So let us look at how intellectual property and intellectual property rights are important uh, in this knowledge based economy that we are going into. So I would just like to give us little background. So we all know what is property, right? So property can be divided into two, tangible and intangible. So what is the intangible property? This is measurable. That means you can hold it, you can touch it, you can use it, you can see it, you can feel it, right? So basic examples are a car and a house or a flat or a building that you have. So that is something which you will use a car, right? You will sit in the car, you will drive, you will go wherever you want. So you are using your car, so you can touch it, right? You can feel it. So this is the measurable and the tangible property. Now, if you want to assert that this is your car, what do? you go to the transport office, which is a government office. You go there and you register it on your name. And what do? You submit certain, you submit forms, right? Like what sort of forms? And what is there in the forms? You will have to give your name, your address, your phone number, your mobile number, your so many other details, right? And once the government says that this you want to register it on your name, it registers the car on your name. Suppose something wrong happens to the car, like say suppose someone, there is a small accident to the car, okay, or someone steals your car, then you have the right and you have the proof that this is your car and it has been stolen, okay. And so you can take any sort of legal action. But if you don't do this, if you do not have the vehicle registrations, then can you do something if something happens to your car? No, naturally not. Because what is the proof that this is yours? So it is very important, just as it is important that you protect your property, the tangible property, the measurable property, in the same way, you should first acknowledge that there is also another type of property, which is the intangible property that is not measurable. And that is what is the intellectual property. Now, intellectual property, if you look at the word, the term itself, you can understand what it means. It means any property which is generated using intellect, right? And what is the intellect? Where does it come from? Your brain. Okay. So human beings have this very high potential of using their intellect, of using their brain, of using resources, of putting in labor and generating intellectual property. And that is what this whole, uh, uh, program is about. And what that is what is now becoming very important. Because if you see the knowledge based economy, like, okay, the property which is tangible and which is measurable is also very important, but there is also this type of property which becomes equally important. And what is this intellectual property? So if you just think about it, you are listening to me now and your brain is thinking about, यार आज मैं घूमने जाना चाह रहा हूँ, बट आज वीकेंड कर्फ्यू है, सो आई कैन नॉट गो, कि मैं होटल में जाके खाना चाहता हूँ, लेकिन मैं नहीं जा सकता हूँ क्योंकि रेस्टोरेंट्स तो बंद है कोविड की वजह से. So your brain is thinking about so many different things, multitasking, no, that is what your brain does. So the brain has this potential to take you wherever you want to go. So if you want to go on a vacation, you would start planning, and you can even think that, okay, I am now in Switzerland, or I am now in Paris, or I am now in Jaipur, wherever. So that is what the potential of your brain is, right? And if you are able to generate something which can be protected by the intellectual property rights, then you have a innovation or a creation. So intellectual property, just as I have explained to you how you protect your car or your house, in the same way can be protected through certain rights that are granted by the government, and they can be divided into intellectual property and copyrights. So industrial property uh, can again be divided into patents, designs, SICLD, trademarks, and GIs. And of course, we have the copyrights. So let's look into all of these aspects. So to sum it up, intellectual property refers to the creations of the mind, such as inventions, literary and artistic works, designs and symbols, names and images used in commerce. And the government gives exclusive rights, intellectual property rights, for a limited period of time in exchange for disclosure of an individual's creations. So if you are, say you write a book, okay, so you are the author of a book, so you have created something, right? So what is this creation? This creation is, you will get a right over it, but this right is not for always, it is for a limited period of time. And This limited period of time is very important because it has to be a bargain between the rights of the creator and the society. So the intellectual property rights are monopolistic rights. So you get a monopoly over what you have created or invented. So if you have this monopolistic rights need to be balanced in such a way that they are not skewed towards a certain either the creator or the society. Then what does this do? So suppose you study very hard and you get very good marks, right? So what do you get out of this? You get an admission in a good college, right? Later on, if you do well in your college, if you perform well in your college, then you get a good job. So what is this? This is a reward for your hard work. Okay. So in the same way, when you create something or when you innovate something, then you have to be encouraged, right? A human being has to be encouraged. You will like it if someone comes and tells you, wow, you have done such a good thing, आपका बुक कितना अच्छा है, आपने कितना अच्छा लिखा. वो तो ठीक है, वो तो बहुत अच्छा है, वो तो आपका encouragement हुआ, लेकिन उसके साथ you also require some reward in the form of money, right? So what does intellectual property regime do? It encourages creativity and innovation by granting rights to the individual who risk their time and money in creative endeavors. So if you are putting in time to create something, to innovate something, then the intellectual property right um, gives you that particular gives you a reason or something so that you can benefit, you can reap the benefit from that, right? Okay. So what are the benefits of intellectual property protection? Why are we talking about intellectual property protection? The first benefit is that it is a very good economic tool and it contributes to the economy of the country. So how do you look at it? So let me give you a very simple example. So today we are all connected on these desktops, laptops, and these virtual applications. So before the beginning of this pandemic, we had a single laptop in our house because we used to work from office, and everything was like, even in our office we have a desktop and so on and so forth. But jab se ye pandemic shuru hua hai, we have four laptops in our house. So when I bought my laptop, it is just a box, right? When is it going to give me the use of a laptop? Can you tell me what do I need to incorporate in the laptop so that I can use it properly? uh, Ma'am, if the students can be interactive.
Yes, yes, they
Ma'am,
can unmute
the
themselves.
soft the software
Yes.
that which is going to help them, not only those, the assignment we need to know and learn a lot of software in order to address the usefulness of the system.
Yes. So the first thing that we require is we need to incorporate a software, right, into the desktop. What is the software that we are normally using?
Software can be according to the work.
Like what is the software that what is the operating system? You require an operating system, right? So what is the
Operating
operating
system
system?
can be different.
Windows, yeah, Linux,
That
whatever.
Yes. So normally what we are using is the Windows, right? And what is which company has developed the Windows?
Microsoft
Microsoft.
Yes, Microsoft. And Microsoft is originated from which country?
USA.
USA. Right. So what are you doing actually? Whenever you install the Microsoft Office Windows operating system, you have to buy it, right? You cannot use it without buying it, because if you use it without buying it, you are doing it is a piracy. It is a pirated version that you get, and that will not work, right? And even if you do that, that is also wrong. Why? Because Windows has its own rights over the operating system. So what are you going to do? You have to buy it. So every time you buy a desktop or a laptop, you have to install this Windows, and you have to buy it. And whenever you buy it, so if you can just imagine that now in India, say approximately 10% of the population is working on laptops, right? So if out of this 10%, 9% are using the operating system, then you can imagine the number of people who are actually buying this software, and the amount of money you are paying to the Microsoft Office, right? And what does the Microsoft Office do? It will naturally contribute to the economy of which government? Yes.
US.
Yeah, US government, right? तो क्या हुआ? तो we are exporting dollars. Okay. So as students, you have the potential to create such inventions, such aspects of innovations where you can actually contribute in a big way towards the economy of the country. Okay. So that is how you have to look at intellectual property. You are surrounded by intellectual property all over. Every day, whatever you are using is someone's intellectual property. And you have to see to it that you are also a intellectual property, whether you are a creator, whether you are an innovator, you need to look into from those aspects. Dr. Ajay said a very good thing. He said that China is running so very much ahead of us. Yes, do you know how many patent applications China files per year? It's around 13 lakhs per year of patent applications. And do you know how many patent applications are filed by Indians? It is just 30% of what the total number of applications are filed in India. अगर 60,000 applications in हमारे पेटेंट ऑफिस में फाइल होते हैं, उसमें से सिर्फ 30% इंडियंस फाइल करते हैं. तो कितने फाइल होते हैं? Around 12,000 to 15,000 of applications are filed by Indians annually. And how much is uh, done by China? 13 to 14 lakh of applications. And there the percentage of applications filed by their own citizens, Chinese citizens, is very high. It's approximately 90%. Okay, so we have to look at it from that angle. We have to try to protect whatever we are inventing, whatever we are creating, right?
Madam,
Okay, so this,
brief interruption. Madam, brief interruption. I am
yes,
seeing hands raised. One is Bal Nisha Girish and the other is Dr. Suman Singh. Is there anything which you wish to speak? We will be discussing after this session, I mean in the question answer session. Till then, please wait for the speaker. Thank you, madam. Continue, madam.
yeah, yeah. So the next point is innovation. Okay, so I give this very simple example nowadays because we are all surrounded by this pandemic. We are all getting, affected in some way or the other by this pandemic, and we are uh, actually we should be thankful to the scientists all over the world who have innovated within just a span of 2 years, and they have brought about this COVID-19 vaccines, right? So can you give me some examples of COVID-19 vaccines?
Covaxin, Covishield.
Yes, Covaxin, Covishield. Something else, these are the vaccines that are developed in India, but what about the other in other countries? Can you give me
Pfizer
examples?
is
Sputnik.
there from UK.
Pfizer, Johnson and
Sputnik
Johnson,
is from
Yes, Pfizer,
Johnson and
Serum,
Johnson
Serum,
and Pfizer.
Sputnik, Johnson and
Serum,
Johnson,
Serum.
Moderna. So yes, there are so many vaccines that have been innovated. So this is what? This is a innovation. This is a scientific solution to a problem that is that is there all over the world, right? So this is an innovation, and we are very proud of our Covaxin vaccine. which is totally made in India, and it is giving very good results. I hope you know. Even Covishield is manufactured in India, although it is a joint venture between, can you tell me? Between Serum Institute of India and the
UK. UK.
Oxford University, right? UK. So you can see that uh, this innovation, how important this innovation is. So I have given you an example of COVID-19 vaccine, but there are so many small innovations that happen all over the country, and we need to understand in what way these innovations can be protected, so that we can first of all, they will benefit the consumer and society, and secondly, they will you know, give a become an economic tool. Okay. So both these examples I have told you, they benefit the consumer and society, and the companies that use intellectual property rights are generally successful. So if you do a small search in the Fortune 500 companies, you will find that the companies that have strong intellectual property rights portfolio are successful. Okay. What are the intellectual property rights? So, as I told you, the intellectual property rights are as follows: patents, designs, trademarks, geographical indications, copyrights, semiconductor integrated circuits, layout, designs. These six are governed by my office, that is Office of the Controller General of Patents, Designs and Trademarks. Protection of plant varieties and farmers' rights is governed by the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare. And for the trade secrets, although there is no separate law, however, it can be protected under the civil law. So what is the office structure? So the basically this is what the office of the Controller General of Patents, Designs and Trademarks looks like. We come under the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, which is under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. And we have 6 offices all over India, 4 patent offices, 5 trademark registries, and 1 training academy in Nagpur. So if you look at our website www.ipindia.nic.in, this is the repository of all the intellectual property applications that are filed in India. So you can see that we have different windows here: patents, designs, trademarks, GI, copyright, and SICLDR. And if you look at this, there is a small, there are different modules here. We have a comprehensive e-filing module and a public search module. We also have journals. So all the intellectual property applications that are filed, are granted or registered, are all um, published in these journals. So if you do a small search, you can see what is the patent scenario in India about a certain uh, topic. Like say, suppose you do a search on mobile. So how many patents on mobiles are filed in India? How many are granted? How many are refused? How many are, open for innovation? You can learn about all this. So if you are doing any sort of research work, like for example, if you are doing a project in your final year, and you are thinking of making something, of inventing something, then you should do this search. Where do you do the search? In the public search. If you put some 4 keywords, then you will understand what is the scenario in that particular field. Okay, so just do this search, so that even if you do a small project, say you are spending 3 months of your time, 3 months of the resources of your college, of your institute, and 3 months of, resources means money, time, endeavor, all this human intellect, all this together, you should try to see that you create something which can innovate in such a way, which you can protect it as a patent, right? So that is very, very important. So you should always do this, so that you will not reinvent the wheel. एक ही चीज बार बार करके कोई फायदा नहीं है. हमें क्या ढूंढना चाहिए? एक अलग चीज ढूंढना चाहिए, something which is different, right? So let's look at patents. This is the first intellectual property rights governed by Patents Act 1970, Patent Rules Amendment 2021. So what is a patent? Very simply, it is an intellectual property right given to an invention, to a scientific solution to a problem. So we are all surrounded by so many problems. हमारे घर में आसपास इतने सारे problems नजर आते हैं. If we are able to invent or create a solution which has a scientific aspect to it, which has a technological aspect to it, then you can be granted a patent. Okay, you can go for a patent registration. And what is it? It is a grant by the sovereign or the state, that is the government, to a person or a company, giving exclusive right to stop others from making, using, or importing an invention, that is a product and or process, for a limited period of time. Okay. So, for example, if you look at it, what is, suppose I have worked in the laboratory and I have developed a medicine, okay, which will contain two or three components, okay, and which is going to stop the COVID-19, or which is going to kill the COVID-19 virus, right? So that product, that means that drug or that pharmaceutical product can be granted a patent. Okay, the process of manufacturing it will also be granted a patent, right? And what is the criteria? First of all, it should be novel. That means it should not have been published anywhere in the world. So if you are doing any work, any scientific work in the institute, please do not publish in papers before filing for a application in the patent office, because as soon as you publish it, it becomes open to the public and you will lose the novelty of your invention. So ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, इसलिए क्योंकि जब आप कुछ भी पब्लिश कर लेते हो पेपर में, तो कोई भी आपका जो काम है, आपका जो रिसर्च का काम है, उसको वो कॉपी कर सकता है, अपने लैब में बना सकता है, उसको किसी को इंडस्ट्री को सेल कर सकता है और बोल सकता है कि आप ये बना दो, और वो ही चीज आपको वो आके यहाँ पे 3 times द कॉस्ट में बेचेंगे. दिस इज व्हाट इज हैपनिंग. देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ सच एग्जांपल्स. सो यू शुड रिमेंबर, अगर आप पब्लिश करने के पहले पेटेंट एप्लीकेशन फाइल कीजिए और उसके बाद ही आप पब्लिश कराइए. ठीक है. देन इट शुड हैव एन इन्वेंटिव स्टेप, दैट इज इट शुड बी नॉन ऑब्वियस. इसका मतलब ये है कि अगर आपका कोई भी आप ऐसा चीज बनाए जो जो मैं देखते साथ ये नहीं बोला, अरे ये तो कॉमन है, इसमें कौन सी नई बात है, ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए. इट शुड बी नॉन ऑब्वियस and it should have industrial applicability. So it should be either made in the industry or it should be either used in the industry. So you should remember that your patent certificate, अगर एक पेटेंट आपको मिल गया, इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि आप खुश हो जाओ कि अरे पेटेंट मिल गया, मेरा तो सब ठीक है. नहीं, you have to either sell it to the industry or you have to see to it that it can be made in an industry. Okay, because you have to generate revenue out of that product. Either you generate or you give it to an industry and take money from them, and you can ask them to generate money. Okay. Now the term of patent is 20 years and it is not extendable. And these are IPRs are territorial rights. So the first, the this is also a very important aspect. If you file it, if you want to protect an invention in India, you have to file it in India. If you want to protect it in, say, the US, you have to file it in the US. Okay. So these are territorial rights. There is nothing called global patent, international patent. ऐसे कोई terms नहीं होते हैं. So what can be patented? Any article, apparatus or machinery or its component, any substance whether living or non-living, it can be a pharmaceutical product, any composition of matter, any process, manner or art of manufacturing other than essential biological process. So I have given you some examples. You can see all these can be patented. So let's look at a very simple example of a pen. So अगर आप पेन में आप पेन इंडस्ट्री के इनोवेशंस या इन्वेंशंस देखोगे ना, तो आपको समझ में आएगा कि कितना कितना सिंपल और कितने इजी तरीके से इन्वेंशंस हो सकते हैं. सो फॉर एग्जांपल जब हम छोटे थे तो हम फाउंटेन पेन से लिखते थे, जिसमें एक इंक इंक डालने के लिए ना एक जगह होती थी, निब होता था, और वो निब टूट जाता था, कभी पेन का जो इंक था वो लीक हो जाता था, तो बहुत प्रॉब्लम्स होते थे. तो इसमें क्या हुआ, देयर वाज दिस वेरी मेजर प्रॉब्लम दैट हाउ आर यू गोइंग टू सॉल्व दिस इशू. सो उसमें क्या हुआ, फाउंटेन पेन के बाद क्या हम लोग अब किससे यूज करते हैं, व्हाट डू वी यूज नाउडेज?
बॉल पेन, जेल पेन.
हाँ, तो जेल पेन से पहले अगर आपको याद होगा, अभी तो जेल पेन्स तो विद इन दिस पास्ट में बी 5-6 ईयर से आ रहे हैं. उसके पहले हम क्या यूज करते थे, एक बॉल पॉइंट पेन ना, हम लोग रेनॉल्ड्स, रेनॉल्ड्स इज अ बॉल पॉइंट पेन, राइट? तो हम रेनॉल्ड्स यूज करते थे विच इज अ बॉल पॉइंट पेन. तो बॉल पॉइंट पेन सॉल्व द इशू टू अ लार्ज एक्सटेंट अबाउट द प्रॉब्लम दैट वाज देयर इन दिस फील्ड, है कि नहीं? उसके बाद अब हम लोग यूज कर रहे हैं जेल पेन्स, है ना? तो अगर आप देखोगे कि इन्वेंशंस कैसे ट्रैवल किए हैं इन दिस फील्ड, आप वैसे ही बहुत सारी चीजों में देख सकते हो. जैसे आपका फोन है, तो टेलीफोन जो पहले था तो वो राउंड वाला होता था जिसमें आपको डायल करना पड़ता था, है ना? अब थोड़े दिन बाद क्या हुआ, वो पुश बटन वाला आ गया. उसके बाद फिर क्या हुआ, अभी आपके हाथ में तो मोबाइल है ना? तो ये देखिए कैसे इन्वेंशंस मूव करते हैं, और ये सब की जो टेक्नोलॉजी है ये सब पेटेंट से प्रोटेक्ट हो सकती है. तो ऐसे आप छोटी छोटी चीजों में आप आसपास देखिए कि टीवी जो होता है वो कैसे, उसमें कैसे इनोवेशंस हुआ. पहले का जो टीवी होता था वो इतना बड़ा एक डब्बा होता था जिसमें स्लाइडिंग डोर्स होते थे. उसके बाद फिर वो निकल गया. उसके बाद पीछे में इतना बड़ा उसका एक बॉक्स जैसे होता था. फिर धीरे धीरे वो फ्लैट हो गया, है ना? तो ये सब क्या है, ये सब टेक्नोलॉजिकल इन्वेंशंस है. दे आर ऑल टेक्नोलॉजिकल सॉल्यूशंस टू प्रॉब्लम्स, राइट? तो ये सारे, this is how you have to look at patents or innovations. So what are the famous inventor or inventions? In 1856, George Alfred D. Penny, he was a civil engineer of Calcutta, and he petitioned the government of India for the grant of exclusive privileges for his invention, an efficient pankha pulling machine. So this is a very important part that you should remember, that patenting system was there in India since 1856. Of course, at that time it was called exclusive privileges because we were under the British rule. But we now have a very strong patent system in India. So I have given some examples of the scientists and their inventions. So these are the examples which actually changed the world. है कि नहीं? So what did Thomas Alva Edison invent? Can you tell me?
Bulb.
हाँ, bulb, है ना? तो आपको see how important that invention was, right? Alexander Graham Bell,
Telephone.
right? Wright brothers,
Aeroplane.
Aeroplane.
aeroplane. What about Louis Pasteur?
Pasteurization.
Pasteurization.
Pasteurization, very good. Pasteurization is a very important process, and he also invented he also worked on the rabies vaccine. Do you know what Alexander Fleming has uh, invented, or his what he has done?
Insulin, ma'am.
Alexander Fleming, penicillin, हाँ? तो penicillin, do you know
Penicillin.
the story about penicillin? 12th में पढ़ा होगा ना आप लोगों ने?
Yes, ma'am, we all know.
अभी गूगल
I
मत करना.
mistakenly here.
Yes, अभी गूगल मत करना. हाँ. So
नहीं,
yes, he
by mistake
mistakenly
invented the
had,
penicillin. He was growing a type of bacteria,
yes,
and
exactly. So माइक्रोबायोलॉजी में क्या होता है, जब प्लेट होता है उसके ऊपर मीडियम होता है, एंड वी ग्रो द माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स एंड चेक what is the color and other aspects of that bacteria, right? तो अलेक्जेंडर फ्लेमिंग ने अपना कोई बैक्टीरिया को ग्रो किया, पेट्री प्लेट में रख के, ही वेंट ऑफ फॉर 3-4 days. आफ्टर ही केम बैक, he saw that it is full of green spores, and he also saw something called zones of inhibitions, that is around the bacteria, wherever the spore was there, the green spore was there, the bacteria was dead. So when he saw this, he thought that this would be a good potential for an antibiotic, right? And then he isolated the penicillin from Penicillium notatum, which was the fungus that grows, that grew on the plate, which gives green spores. And he isolated this penicillin, and thus the although penicillin was a discovery, because he had discovered Penicillium notatum, but he isolated it. He then took it out from the fungus, and so it became an invention. So this is very interesting, right? So don't think that I'm only talking about, foreign inventions. We also have our own Indian inventions. So we have the nano car, we have the hepatitis vaccine, which is produced by Shanta Biotech. We have the Jaipur fort. These are some of the common examples. We also have Professor Hargobind Khurana, who was an Indian American biochemist and who shared the 1968 Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine. Can you tell me for what did he got this Nobel Prize?
Double helical structure of DNA.
All right. He put forward a theory which showed the double helical structure of DNA, and he just this was a very important uh, aspect for biotechnology, microbiology, to understand what the structure of the DNA is. The first Pentium chip was invented in 1993 by Mr. Vinod Dham, who was also called the father of Pentium processors. So Pentium chip is so very important, because if you can just go through the way the computers have developed in the world, at one time the computers were so huge, they were so bulky कि वो पूरा एक रूम में एक कंप्यूटर होता था. But then slowly there were innovations, there were inventions, and this Pentium chip was one of the most important inventions. So because of which now, you remember we have these Pentium processors, because of which we have faster RAMs, and we have faster. The laptops have become smaller. Desktops have also become smaller. They have so many inbuilt characteristics, features. So this is also a very important invention. Then बहुत पहले 2000 2005 2002 में हम लोग हॉटमेल यूज करते थे, which was developed by Mr. Sabir Bhatia. So it's not as though Indians are not innovative or creative. It's just that we need to recognize that what we are creating, and we need to push ourselves in such a way that we create something which is new, which is innovative, and which is useful. Okay. So this is one more small example of a famous patent of Mr. Michael Jackson. So Mr. Michael Jackson used to execute a gravity defying move, leaning some 45 degrees forward without falling over, and then reverting back to his original upright position. Do you know what this step is called?
Moonwalk.
Ah,
पोस्चर का
moonwalk,
नाम
right. Moonwalk. And he was very famous for this step. So naturally he didn't want to fall. अब अगर लाखों लोगों के आगे वो परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं और वहां पे वो ये स्टेप करते करते गिर गए, तो वो तो अच्छा नहीं रहेगा. So what did he do? He designed a shoe along with his associates, and this anti-gravity shoe was awarded the patent in October 1993 by the USPTO. And what is this? This is a gadget combination of rods rising from the stage floor, and the shoe had a hole, and when he used to go to that area where the rod used to be there, then the hole used to fit into the rod, and he could perform that step easily without falling over, right? So how do you file for a patent? So just as I told you, जब आप अपना कार रजिस्टर कराना चाहते हैं, तो आप कुछ फॉर्म्स देते हैं गवर्नमेंट को ना, प्रूफ अपना आप दोगे कि आप कुछ प्रूफ दोगे कि आपका होम एड्रेस क्या है कि नहीं. ये सारे प्रूफ्स आप देते हैं. वैसे ही आपको गवर्नमेंट को, जैसे यानी हमारे पेटेंट ऑफिस में आप ये सारे फॉर्म्स फाइल करेंगे. तो फॉर्म 1 में normal legal aspects like what is your name, what is your uh, email address, what is your address, what is the mobile number, so that the patent office can contact you, and you need to file fees. Secondly, you also need to file something called the form 2, which is called the specification. आपको क्या बताना होगा फॉर्म 2 में? कंप्लीट इसको कहते हैं स्पेसिफिकेशन, और वो स्पेसिफिकेशन क्या होगा, जैसे आप पेपर पब्लिश करते हो ना जर्नल्स में, उसी टाइप का होता है, लेकिन उसमें देयर इज वन मोर थिंग कॉल्ड क्लेम्स. ओके, एंड दीज क्लेम्स make the patent specification a techno legal document, and because of these claims you are able to establish your legal boundary. Okay. अभी मैं इतने डेप्थ में नहीं जा रही हूँ, क्योंकि हम लोग बाकी के भी देखेंगे. अगर लेटर ऑन कभी आपको जरूरत पड़े तो सिर्फ पेटेंट्स पे एक अलग से सेशन कर लेंगे. तो व्हाट आर द फीस? तो पहले क्या हुआ, ऐसा ऐसा एक स्टडी किया गया जिसमें पता लगा कि द नंबर ऑफ publications in various journals बहुत हाई है by Indians, but the number of applications filed is very low. So the government was a little worried कि ऐसे क्यों हो रहा है कि पब्लिश होते हैं लेकिन पेटेंट एप्लीकेशंस फाइल नहीं हो रहे हैं. तो उन्होंने सोचा कि अगर फीस का इशू है, कि कोई यूनिवर्सिटी, कोई इंस्टीट्यूट, कोई रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट कोई फीस कोई पेटेंट एप्लीकेशन फाइल करना चाह रहा है लेकिन फीस नहीं है, फीस हाई की वजह से वो नहीं कर पा रहा है, इसलिए गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने फीस को 5600 फॉर एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट कर दिया है. तो अगर एक स्टार्टअप हो, या तो आप एक नेचुरल पर्सन हो, और स्मॉल एंटिटी हो, और एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट हो, उन सबको सिर्फ 5600 में आप पेटेंट फाइल कर सकते हैं. पहले कितना था? 28,000. तो ये चीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. आप कहाँ फाइल करोगे? ऑनलाइन फाइल कर सकते हैं. आपको पता है कि अब तो सब चीजें ऑनलाइन अवेलेबल है ना. हर एक गवर्नमेंट ऑफिस में जहां तक हो सके ऑनलाइन फैसिलिटीज है. वैसे ही हमारे ऑफिस में भी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव ई फाइलिंग पोर्टल है, जहां पे आप ऑनलाइन फाइल कर सकते हैं. नहीं तो आप हमारे ऑफिस में भी आके फाइल कर सकते हो, नहीं तो पोस्ट से भी भेज सकते हो. फिर तो इसमें सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट क्या है? इसमें सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट ये है कि आपको अगर कुछ इन्वेंशन आपने बनाया है तो उसको पेपर पे पहले पब्लिश मत कीजिए. जो जर्नल्स होते हैं उसमें पब्लिश मत कीजिए. पहले आप पेटेंट एप्लीकेशन फाइल कीजिए, उसके बाद आप पेपर में, जर्नल्स में पब्लिश कर सकते हैं. ठीक है. सो दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट. और जैसे आपने सोच लीजिए कि आपने कहीं पे पेपर पब्लिश कर रहे हैं आप जर्नल में, तो नेचुरली अगर उनको कोई क्लैरिफिकेशंस चाहिए तो वो क्लैरिफिकेशंस मांगेंगे आपसे, है ना. तो आपको उसका रिप्लाई देना होगा. तो इन द सेम वे द पेटेंट ऑफिस विल ऑल्सो लुक इनटू योर एप्लीकेशन. अगर कोई इश्यूज होते हैं तो हम लोग एक फर्स्ट एग्जामिनेशन रिपोर्ट भेजते हैं. You have to reply back to that, and after that a patent is granted. देखिए ऐसे लिखता है पेटेंट आपका. ठीक है. Next we come to the second type here, that is designs. So this is under the Designs Act 2000 and the rules 2001 or 2021. So what is a design? Design is only the features of shape, configuration, pattern, ornament or composition of lines or colors applied to any article, and it is judged solely by the eye. That means कि आप जो भी ऊपरी चीज देखते हो, बाहर से जो भी देखते हो, वो आप डिजाइन प्रोटेक्शन कर सकते हो. ठीक है. जैसे जो कार का जो शेप होता है, तो कार का जो मशीनरी है, जैसे आपका जो मोटर है कार का, वो सब तो पेटेंट से प्रोटेक्ट होगा. लेकिन जो बेसिक शेप है, जैसे हर एक कार का अपना शेप है, राइट. और कभी कभी आपको कुछ शेप्स अच्छे लगते, कुछ नहीं लगते. वो क्यों ऐसा है? क्योंकि आपका वट एवर यू लाइक अपील्स टू योर आई, वो आप नॉर्मली खरीदना चाहोगे, है ना. तो वैसे ही देखिए हैंडबैग्स, लेडीज हैंडबैग्स के कितने टाइप्स ऑफ शेप्स, डिजाइन होते हैं, है ना. तो कोई आप बताइए लेडीज हैंडबैग्स में बहुत फेमस कोई ब्रांड बताइए.
गुची.
गुची, राइट. और
लुई
है ना.
वैलेटॉन,
तो
प्राडा.
हर एक,
गुडलैंड.
हाँ, हर एक बैग, हर एक सबका एक शेप होता है, एक डिजाइन होता है, एक पैटर्न होता है, कॉन्फ़िगरेशन होता है, लाइन, कलर्स होते हैं. ये सबको कॉम्बिनेशन में आप इसका डिजाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन करा सकते हैं. जैसे एक फैन होता है, तो हर एक फैन का एक शेप होगा, है ना. जैसे जो मशीनरी है, फैन का जो मशीन है, वो तो पेटेंट होगा, लेकिन जो
लैब
है, जो डिजाइन है, वो डिजाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन होगा। वैसे ही कपड़ों का, क्लोथ्स का, तो देखिए क्लोथ्स में जो आपको पता है जो डिजाइनर्स हैं, कौन से डिजाइनर्स है क्लोथ्स के? मनीष
मल्होत्रा
मल्होत्रा, साक्षी साची, इन लोग सबके बहुत, ये लोग सब बहुत फेमस क्लोथ्स डिजाइनर्स है, और ये लोग सब लोगों फैशन डिजाइनर्स है, और इन लोग के क्लोथ्स रजिस्टर होते हैं हमारे रजिस्ट्री में,
साची।
डिजाइन रजिस्ट्री में, हमारे इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी ऑफिस में। तो ये सब क्या है, डिजाइन्स। तो ये देखिए बॉटल्स के डिजाइन्स, तो अगर आपको आप याद कीजिए कि बिस्लरी का बॉटल कैसे दिखता है, किनले का बॉटल कैसे दिखता है, दोनों के शेप्स अलग है, ठीक है। और कभी कभी आपको एक शेप के वजह से आप वो चीज खरीदते हो, है ना, तो वो भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट। जैसे वॉच होता है, तो जो मशीनरी है वॉच की वो पेटेंट होगा, लेकिन जो डिजाइन ऑफ द वॉच है, जो शेप ऑफ द वॉच है, वो डिजाइन रजिस्टर होगा, ठीक है। और डिजाइन में देर इज अ कंसेप्ट ऑफ सेट। तो इसमें आप देखिए कि जो आपके दो शूज हैं, दोनों के सेम डिजाइन होंगे, जो चप्पल्स है दोनों के सेम डिजाइन होंगे। वैसे ही जो ज्वेलरी है, आप ज्वेलरी खरीदने जाएंगे तो ज्वेलरी में सबका एक ही डिजाइन का आप खरीदोगे, एक कान का एक और दूसरे कान का एक नॉर्मली नहीं खरीदते, कभी कभी खरीद भी सकते हैं बट नॉर्मली नहीं होता है ना। वैसे ही सोफा सेट, so they all have the same design, so this is called set of articles. How do you file it? Again, you file it in a online in our website. इसमें एप्लीकेशन फी देना होगा, फॉर्म 1 देना होगा, जिसमें मैंने बताया आपको डिटेल्स देने हो, जैसे आपका नाम, एड्रेस, ईमेल एड्रेस, वो सब। और आपको रिप्रेजेंटेशन इलस्ट्रेटिंग वेरियस व्यूज ऑफ द आर्टिकल, जैसे ये है पर्सपेक्टिव व्यू, ठीक है। ये मैंने बताया आपको, ये जर्नल में पब्लिश भी होते हैं। एंड इसका जो टर्म है, इसका टर्म है 10 years, एंड इट इज एक्सटेंडेबल मैक्सिमम बाय 5 years, तो मैक्सिमम 15 years है, ओके। Then we come to trademarks. So trademarks, which is governed by the Trademarks Act 1999 and the Trademark Rules 2017. So what is a trademark? A trademark is any word, name, symbol or device or any combination thereof, and it identifies and distinguishes the source of the goods or services of one trader from those of others. So ये कुछ examples मैंने दिए हैं. So how important are trademarks? जैसे आप अगर कहीं पे भी, आप कहीं पे अपना काम कर रहे हो, ठीक है, और आपने ये सुना, ये दिल मांगे मोर, तो आपको क्या याद आएगा?
पेप्सी।
पेप्सी
पेप्सी, है ना। तो ये है ट्रेडमार्क का वैल्यू। तो आप एक ब्रांड से उस चीज को उसको कनेक्ट करते हो, है ना। तो जैसे आप नौकरी.com है, ब्यूरो ऑफ इंडियन स्टैंडर्ड्स है। जैसे मैं सवेरे जब ब्रेड और बटर खाती हूँ, तो मैं जैसे ही सोचती हूँ मैं ब्रेड और बटर खाऊंगी, तो मुझे क्या याद आएगा?
पराग।
ठीक है,
अमूल
अमूल
पराग,
बटर, अमूल बटर।
अमूल, है ना, क्योंकि सबसे कॉमन क्या रहता है कि सब क्या
चाय
बोलते हैं?
चाय।
अटली बटली डिलीशियस, अमूल, है ना। सो ऑल दिस इज, क्या करते हैं, वो एक ट्रेडमार्क है जो एक कस्टमर की लॉयल्टी को बिल्ड करता है। सो इवन साउंड्स कैन बी ट्रेडमार्क्स। अगर आपने ऐसे मूवीज देखे हैं जिसमें ये वाला आता है मेट्रो गोल्डविन मेयर के, तो उसमें एक ये क्या आता है, इसका क्या साउंड आता है?
शेर की आवाज।
हाँ, तो द रोर ऑफ द लायन, सो इवन दैट इज अ ट्रेडमार्क। और जैसे आप नोकिया के फोन्स सबसे पहले ओपन करते थे, तो एक साउंड आता है ना, एक ट्यून आता है, दे आर ऑल साउंड ट्रेडमार्क्स। So what is a good trademark? A good trademark should have distinctiveness and should not be deceptively similar. So यहाँ पे मैंने कुछ examples दिए हैं जहाँ पे ये जो बिस्लरी की जो बॉटल है उसका फेक बनाए हैं, और देखिए सेम है बॉटल, अगर आप दूर से देखोगे तो सेम दिखेगा, बट एक्चुअली सेम नहीं है, उन्होंने डिसेप्टिवली सिमिलर नेम्स रखे हैं, राइट। जिसकी वजह से क्या हो रहा है कि जब एक अमाउंट ऑफ मनी देके एक प्रोडक्ट खरीदती हूँ, तो मुझे मालूम है कि उसका क्या, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वो क्वालिटी क्या होगा, उसका टेस्ट क्या होगा, ये सब कुछ मेरे दिमाग में वो चीज बैठी है ना। लेकिन अगर वो उस what is happening if I buy these bottles, then what happens is that first of all, they are actually using Bisleri to sell their products, which is deceiving the public. तो इसी का एक एड भी उन्होंने बनाया है, आपको याद है ये एड? हर पानी की बोतल बिस्लरी नहीं होती।
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
क्या है वो?
Yes.
It's a conversation between two camels.
Yes, yes, exactly. So they are trying to say that please be careful and take care that you buy a Bisleri bottle, right? So how do you protect your trademark? Again, you can file it online, but you have to remember that trademarks registration is optional. But if Bisleri wants to take any sort of legal action against these, then its trademark needs to be protected and registered in India, because I told you IPRs are all territorial rights. Okay, and you can initially register it for 10 years, but it can be further renewed 10 years each time. Okay. Next, we come to copyrights. Very important, especially for students, because it is very easy to infringe on a copyright. सबसे ज्यादा जो infringement होता है वो पे ही होता है, इसलिए क्योंकि बहुत easily available है। जैसे हम लोग unwittingly, हाँ unknowingly हम लोग कोई गाना डाउनलोड कर लेते before seeing what are the usage rights, because every copyright has its usage rights, right? तो अगर हम लोग ने किसी फोटो को डाउनलोड किया, जैसे मैंने ये इमेज डाउनलोड किया, तो मैंने कहीं ना कहीं जाके चेक किया होगा कि इसका क्या राइट है, कैन आई यूज इट और डू आई नीड टू पे समथिंग टू द कॉपीराइट ओनर, है ना? तो ये सब चीजें हमें ध्यान रखना चाहिए, एंड स्पेशली स्टूडेंट्स, बिकॉज यू नो इट इज, आप लोग सबसे ज्यादा इस फील्ड, ऐसे फील्ड में काम करते हैं जहाँ पे सोच लीजिए कि आज सवेरे सडनली आपको आज सवेरे 5 बजे याद आया कि 11 बजे मुझे कोई प्रोजेक्ट रिपोर्ट देना है, तो आप क्या करोगे? फटाफट इंटरनेट पे जाओगे, सर्च करोगे, 4-5 साइट से कॉपी पेस्ट करोगे और प्रोजेक्ट रिपोर्ट को सबमिट कर दोगे। Well, you have submitted your report, but you have to remember that you need to be careful. If you are, even if you do this, you should give the acknowledgement. You should acknowledge that this is, I have taken this from so and so website, right? तो ये सब चीजें बहुत important है. So what is copyright? Bundle of rights, and they are automatic rights. So as soon as you write a book, or as soon as you click a photograph, that is your copyright. Okay, but if you register it, then you can take legal action against anyone who is infringing on your copyright. Okay. So what are the works covered under copyrights? Literary, including software, which includes books, essay, compilations, computer programs. Dramatic, including screenplay and drama. So you have to remember here that in India, if you uh, develop a software or a computer program, then they are protected under copyrights. They are not patented, okay? Because it is a written substance, written material. Once you are able to attach a hardware to it, then it becomes a patentable subject matter. Okay. So sound recording, artistic works like drawing, painting, map, chart, logo, photographs, work of architecture, musical notation, cinematographic films are all covered under copyrights. And what are the rights of authors? So there are two important rights. First are economic rights and moral rights. So economic rights are transferable rights and moral rights are non-transferable rights. So let us look at an example where you are an author and you have given your right to a producer to produce a film on your book. Okay, can you give me examples of such sort?
Three Idiots, Chetan Bhagat.
Three Idiots, Chetan Bhagat. Very good. Or
Two mistakes of my life.
yes, yes. So the economic rights are where the owners get a sum of money or royalties, right? So Mr. Chetan Bhagat, J.K. Rowling, they would all have got some amount of money or royalties. But when it comes to moral rights, they are non-transferable rights and they will always remain with the original author. And there are two types of such rights. First is right against distortion, and the second is right of recognition. So, right against distortion is that uh, the book or the work should not be distorted in such a way that it is prejudicial to the honor and reputation of the author. And in the same way, when you आपने अगर ऐसे मूवीज देखे होंगे ना जहाँ पे ऑथर ने दिए हैं अपने राइट्स प्रोड्यूसर को मूवी बनाने, तो वहां पे हरदम क्रेडिट्स में हरदम लिखा रहेगा that this movie is based on the book by the author so and so. So this is the right of recognition. This is always there with the author, right? And again, application, you need to file a form 14 and register in the copyright office. And this is the fees for filing. And this is the examination procedure. Very simple. If there is no discrepancy, then it is registered. Next, we come to SICLD, Semiconductor Integrated Circuits Layout Design, which is governed by the Act 2000 and Rules 2001. And what is this? It is a product having transistors and other circuitry elements inseparably formed on or inside a semiconductor or insulating material. And it is very important for fast changing technologies such as electronic gadgets, computers. So, हमारे जो चिप्स होते हैं, अगर पानी में मोबाइल फोन गिर गया तो क्या बताएंगे आपको कि उसका तो सर्किट खराब हो गया या तो मदरबोर्ड का सर्किट खराब हो गया. तो ऑल दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट फॉर such inventions. Okay, and the criteria is that it should be original, distinctive, and it should be distinguishable from other layout designs. So these are some of the examples that I have provided here. Lastly, we come to geographical indications, which is Atulya Bharat ki Amulya Nidhi. And these are the invaluable treasures of incredible India. You have to remember that these are community rights. So, if there is any geographical place where a certain product is famous, then all of the people in that community get the right over that product. So, for example, I have given Darjeeling tea, Makrana marble, Ratlami सेव, कांजीपुरम सिल्क. और एग्जांपल्स बताइए.
Rasgulla.
बीकानेरी नमकीन.
हाँ, कहाँ का रसगुल्ला?
Odisha.
बंगाली.
बंगाली और उड़ीसा दोनों.
हाँ, और
आगरा का
अरे आप
पेठा.
लोग तो सिंपल चीजें नहीं बता रहे हैं.
आगरा का
बनारसी
पेठा.
साड़ी.
हाँ, बनारसी साड़ी,
मेरठ का पेड़ा. मेरठ का
लखनऊ
पेड़ा.
चिकन,
चंदेरी की
चिकनकारी, चिकनकारी
चने,
है ना?
लखनऊ का चिकन.
लखनऊ का चिकन.
बीकाजी नमकीन.
चिकन
तो
कुर्ता.
आप देख सकते हो ना, ये सब है एग्जांपल्स. कठपुतली ऑफ राजस्थान, बाग प्रिंट्स मध्य प्रदेश, बंगाल पटचित्रा, चेरियाल पेंटिंग्स, बिद्री वेयर, वर्ली पेंटिंग्स, and also some agricultural products like Maghai pan, Devanhali pomelo, Appemedi mango, Coorg orange, Shahi lychee of Bihar, Kashmir saffron. आपको पता है ना कश्मीर saffron कितना फेमस है ना? So all
जी
these
जी.
are examples. Okay, career opportunities may, if you are from the science field, then you can join as a examiner of patents and designs, just like I had, and then I got promoted. You can also uh, be a give the patent agent exam, and this is conducted by our office, and you can be a bridge between the applicant and the patent office. Okay, you can also be a JRF or SRF in patent facilitation centers. You can be a part of the patent litigation team, because बड़े बड़े legal firms में बहुत सारे ऐसे aspects होते हैं ना जो जो साइंस बैकग्राउंड के लोग इजीली समझा सकते हैं. तो ऐसे जगह पे आपको जॉब मिल अपॉर्चुनिटी है. वैसे ही अगर आपके पास लॉ की डिग्री है तो आप एग्जामिनर ऑफ ट्रेडमार्क इन जीआई और कॉपीराइट हो सकते हैं, या तो आप ट्रेडमार्क एजेंट बन सकते हो, जैसे मैंने पेटेंट एजेंट के लिए बताया वैसे ट्रेडमार्क एजेंट होते हैं, और आप ट्रेडमार्क लिटिगेशन में भी you can be a team of the trademark litigation. ठीक है. So I come to the end of my presentation. एक छोटा सा क्विज है, लेकिन अगर आपको टाइम नहीं है तो वी कैन गो फॉर द क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन, और उसके बाद हम देख लेंगे, फिर बाद में हम क्विज क्विज सोच सकते हैं, वट एवर यू से।
हेलो
या
मैम,
Go
मैंने
on.
एक क्विज, मैंने एक अपना पेटेंट फाइल किया था, जिसमें फॉर्म 9 के साथ मैंने उसको भेजा था अक्टूबर फर्स्ट वीक में। मेरे
अक्टूबर
ख्याल से वो,
2021।
हाँ, अक्टूबर 2021 में। वो
ठीक है।
मेरे ख्याल मैंने कई बार वहां पर फोन भी किया, उन्होंने बोला कि मतलब विद इन अ मंथ पब्लिश हो जाएगा, बट अभी तक की कुछ रिस्पॉन्स ही नहीं आया। मैंने मेल भी किया उसके रिगार्डिंग कई बार, और वहां पर जो अटेंडेंट है वो जो फोन उठाती है तो बोलती है कि जो है वो मतलब आ नहीं रहे हैं, यही सब चल रहा है तब से।
ठीक है, मैं आप मुझे मेल कर दीजिएगा, मैं पता लगा के आपको फिर रिप्लाई बैक कर दूंगी।
मैम आप अपना ईमेल एड्रेस बता देंगे?
हाँ, आप मुझे मेल कर सकते हैं। और कुछ क्वेश्चंस हैं?
मैम, एक
Yes.
ट्रेडमार्क और एक हॉलमार्क दोनों में डिफरेंस मतलब कितना सेम रहता है या थोड़ा सा डिफरेंस रहता है?
देखिए, ट्रेडमार्क तो ट्रेडमार्क का तो हर एक प्रोडक्ट का एक ट्रेडमार्क होगा, राइट, बट हॉलमार्क इज समथिंग डिफरेंट। हॉलमार्क इज अ क्वालिटी को एस्टेब्लिश करने के लिए होता है, राइट। तो ट्रेडमार्क तो हर एक होगा, ट्रेडमार्क होगा, ट्रेड नेम होगा, या कुछ भी, वो तो सब कुछ होगा, बट जो हॉलमार्क होता है वो तो एक स्टैंडर्ड के लिए होता है।
Sir, ma'am.
यस,
Good afternoon, ma'am.
गुड
I
आफ्टरनून।
have a question.
या
Like कि for example आपने जो बोला कि फोटोज आप किसी पे अपलोड करते हो तो आपने उसमें कॉपीराइट किया हुआ है। अगर कोई कॉपीराइट इंफ्रिंजमेंट करता है तो उसे ऑथर को कैसे पता चलता है मैम? Is there any protocol that they are following कि हमने ये ट्रेडमार्क में या कॉपीराइट इस पे किया हुआ है, तो कोई इंफ्रिंजमेंट करता है तो ऑथर को नोटिफिकेशन या ऐसा कुछ, हाउ वी गॉट टू नो कि हमारा वो फोटोज यूज किया हुआ है या डाउनलोड किया है?
हाँ, तो मैम ऐसा है कि देखिए, अगर आपके पास कोई प्रॉपर्टी है ना, तो यू हैव टू बी विजिलेंट। ठीक है, आप ऐसे नहीं कर सकते कि आप अपने नाम से एक गाड़ी खरीदे और फिर आप भूल गए कि भाई ये गाड़ी कोई भी यूज कर लो, कहीं भी जा रही है, आपको पता ही नहीं है। यू हैव टू बी विजिलेंट अबाउट योर ओन प्रॉपर्टी। तो इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी में भी वही है, यू यू हैव टू बी विजिलेंट कि आपको कहीं से पता लगे या आप खुद ही सर्च करके देखें कि कहाँ पे ये हो रहा है। एंड यस, देर आर टूल्स, जैसे इमेज सर्च करके होता है ना आज के इसमें, कि आप इमेज सर्च करके देख सकते हो कि ये कहाँ, ये इमेज कहाँ कहाँ पे यूज हो सकता है। तो यस, देर आर सर्टेन टूल्स।
ओके मैम।
मैम, अगर लेकिन क्लेम तभी हो सकता है ना अगर वो कॉपीराइटेड है। अगर हमने कॉपीराइटेड नहीं कराया है, फोटो अपलोड है, कुछ भी कोई यूज करता है, तो फिर हम किसी तरह का कोई क्लेम नहीं कर सकते ना।
हाँ, देखिए, कॉपीराइट में एक एस्पेक्ट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि वो, अगर जैसे ही आपने अपना कर लिया है ना, जैसे ही आपने कोई बुक लिख दिया, तो आपको अगर उसके ऊपर लीगल राइट चाहिए तो फिर आप उसको कॉपीराइट करोगे, है कि नहीं। लेकिन अगर आपने कोई, जैसे मैंने कोई स्टोरी लिखा और मैंने अपने आप में पढ़ लिया, मेरे फैमिली को दिखा दिया, मुझे उसका कुछ करना नहीं है, मुझे कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, तो मैं तो, आई डोंट नीड टू पब्लिश इट, राइट, आई विल नॉट पब्लिश इट, मैं तो अपने पास रखूंगी, मैं उसी में खुश हूँ। लेकिन अगर मैं कल उसको पब्लिश करती हूँ, तो मुझे, मेरे पास वो राइट होना चाहिए कि हाँ, ये मेरा चीज है, कोई और इसको यूज नहीं करना चाहिए। तो इसीलिए कहते हैं कि इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट अपने पास रहना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है अपने क्रिएटिव चीज के लिए। आप अगर कुछ भी कर रहे हो, तो आपको ये याद रखना चाहिए कि हाँ, दिस इज इम्पोर्टेंट दैट आई प्रोटेक्ट इट ऑन माई नेम, बिकॉज लेटर ऑन कुछ भी प्रॉब्लम हुआ तो आपके पास तो है प्रूफ, गवर्नमेंट ने आपको वो राइट दिया है, आपके पास प्रूफ है, आप उसको, उसके अगेंस्ट आप लीगल एक्शन ले सकते हो, है ना।
थैंक यू मैम।
थैंक
Ma'am, the patent office is not responsible for the if somebody else is making all these changes and all and presenting it as their own device or equipment or anything. So the
you. No,
patent office is not looking after all those things, no? As a
no.
founder or as a investigator or as a this thing, this then all of the things that the person who has invented, the inventor has to look after all these things, no?
Yes, yes, yes. See, the patent office या तो intellectual property office का तो फंक्शन तब तक है जब तक वो ग्रांट करेगा, है ना? तो जब वो ग्रांट करेगा, so he will see that the government is not granting the same thing to to another person, right? तब तक तो पेटेंट ऑफिस का या इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी ऑफिस का फंक्शन है, बट वंस इट इज ग्रांटेड और वंस दैट राइट इज गिवन टू द individual or to that applicant.
Yes, Dr. Rao. So
Yes,
you said that a student who is willing to have a patent, I mean, they are doing some research prior to publication, they should apply for patent application, right? Of a
right,
copyright application. Yes.
right.
Now,
Just
if
a minute.
suppose that if I have already published certain paper, can I do something now for the copyright thing? No, it is not possible.
No, see, ma'am, there are two different aspects. One is a patent and one is a copyright. Okay. So the patent is for a scientific invention. So if you have published something which is in a scientific journal, right? So then you will lose the novelty because you have already published it. Okay. But if it is about a copyright, if you are thinking of taking a copyright over it, then it is already there on your name. You just need to register it. There is no problem about copyright.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Ma'am, there's one more doubt that I have.
Yes.
Ma'am, suppose there's a device which is already invented and patented, and if I make a small change on that, maybe on the color or some part that I have added, will that be considered as a new object or a new device, or it'll be considered as the same old thing?
Okay. So if you look at it, you first of all you have to be clear what you want the right to be. If it is an patent, then you need to provide certain, changes in technology. जैसे आप अभी तो देखो कार्स चलते हैं, है ना? तो ये सारा जो मशीनरी है इन सब पे ऑलरेडी पेटेंट हो चुका है. ओके, बट नाउ सपोज यू आर एबल टू develop or you are able to make a small component of the machinery which will give you अभी पेट्रोल दे रहा है वो 5 kilometers per liter, and suppose now you are able to make this particular component which is going to give you 20 kilometers per liter of petrol, तो वो आप पेटेंट कर सकते हो, राइट? लेकिन आप अगर अगर नहीं तो टेक्नोलॉजी अगर कुछ डिफरेंट नहीं है तो आप उसको डिजाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन कीजिए, पेटेंट की तरफ मत जाइए. ठीक है? डिफरेंस पता लग गया आपको?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So if there is a technology, if you are going to add anything to a technology, then you can always patent it. But if you are just making changes to the say the outer aspect, जैसे कार के जो शेप है, कार का शेप, उसका कलर,
Yes, ma'am.
उसका डिजाइन, वो सब आप डिजाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन करेंगे, पेटेंट नहीं मिलेगा उस पे. ठीक?
Yes, ma'am. And ma'am, is if there is a technique which is newly invented, and suppose in many of the medical profession, they have a specific technique. Is that also patronized, or it has to be registered in some other way?
नहीं, तो मैं आपको वही बता रही हूँ ना कि if there is a technological solution to a problem, then it can be a patent. Okay?
No, ma'am. I'm talking about in terms of medical this thing. Suppose we as a physiotherapist, we are from physiotherapy department in colleges. So
Okay.
we develop a new technique in order to treat a particular type of pathology, or you can say disease.
Hmm.
So will that be considered as a new tool or a new technique, or under what category we can
Yeah, yeah.
put
This
that
is a
as
very
a,
good
this?
question because medical treatments, method of treatments are cannot be patented. ओके, सो अगर आपने लेकिन अगर आप कोई टूल बना रहे हो, कोई डिवाइस बना रहे हो, ठीक है, जिससे आपका प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो रहा है, तो वो प्रोडक्ट आप पेटेंट कर सकते हो। लेकिन अगर आपका कोई मेथड है ऑफ ट्रीटमेंट, जैसे आप कहते हो कि इंफ्रारेड ट्रीटमेंट, अगर फिजियोथेरेपी की बात करें तो बेसिकली इंफ्रारेड ट्रीटमेंट 5 साइकिल्स हो, उसके बाद स्टॉप हो, उसके बाद नेक्स्ट आप उसको कुछ और करवाएं, फिर से इंफ्रारेड ट्रीटमेंट करवाएं, तो दैट इज अ मेथड ऑफ ट्रीटमेंट एंड दैट इज नॉट पेटेंटेबल। बट इफ यू आर एबल टू मेक अ स्मॉल, जैसे जो आजकल हिप रिप्लेसमेंट्स होते हैं, तो हिप रिप्लेसमेंट का जो प्रोडक्ट है वो आप पेटेंट ले सकते हो, लेकिन वो हिप रिप्लेसमेंट का टेक्निक अगर है तो वो उसका पेटेंट नहीं मिलेगा, राइट?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would
Ma'am,
request the participants to kindly enable the
excuse me,
camera
ma'am.
so that we can have a group photograph here on the screen.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, can we make a protocol, or can we patronize a protocol?
Protocol for what?
A treatment protocol, like you said now, ma'am, that there's a method. Again, these method can be converted into, for example, rehabilitation of a hip joint has different protocols, and these protocols have been registered under different names. Other founders who have been using these protocols in order to become to be said as these protocols are more effective than the other protocols. So if we make a protocol, can that be patronized?
नो, प्रोटोकॉल्स तो नहीं है ना, क्योंकि आपका प्रोडक्ट नहीं है। देखिए, पेटेंट के लिए प्रोडक्ट चाहिए, प्रोडक्ट चाहिए, या तो उस प्रोडक्ट को बनाने का प्रोसेस चाहिए। तो जब तक वो प्रोडक्ट नहीं है, जैसे मैंने बताया कि हिप रिप्लेसमेंट या नी रिप्लेसमेंट का जो रॉड है, वो रॉड किस चीज का बना है उसका पेटेंट हो सकता है, लेकिन रॉड को कैसे इंसर्ट कर रहे हैं उसका पेटेंट नहीं होगा। दोनों का डिफरेंस पता चला आपको? जैसे अगर रॉड है, तो अभी जो रॉड है वो रॉड बन रहा है स्टील का, लेकिन अगर आपके पास अभी आपने एक नया रॉड आपने बनाया है जो स्टील का नहीं है, बट एक डिफरेंट डिफरेंट सब्सटेंस का है, जो जिसके वजह से बेंड हो सकता है, जो जो जिसकी वजह से उसका जो मूवमेंट है वो ज्यादा अच्छा हो सकता है, तो उस चीज का आपको प्रोडक्ट पेटेंट मिल सकता है, नॉट फॉर इंसर्टिंग इट, क्योंकि जो इंसर्शन है वो एक मेडिकल प्रोफेशन करता है, मेडिकल प्रोफेशनल करता है, तो उसके लिए आपको पेटेंट नहीं मिलेगा।
मैम जैसे फ्रेमवर्क वगैरह होते हैं, जैसे हम लोग के सॉफ्टवेयर फील्ड में, अगर हम फ्रेमवर्क से रिजल्ट का इम्प्रूवमेंट कर रहे हैं, तो क्या वो टेक्नोलॉजी जो हम उसके रिजल्ट्स के लिए लगा रहे हैं, वो फ्रेमवर्क जो दे रहे हैं उसके लिए उसको पेटेंट के लिए अप्लाई कर सकते हैं?
देखिए, अगर फ्रेमवर्क है तो क्या वो हार्डवेयर है? अगर वो सिर्फ एक प्रोग्राम है जिसकी वजह
जी
से
जी। हम्म।
इम्प्रूवमेंट है, तो वो तो कॉपीराइट में जाएगा।
अच्छा।
लेकिन अगर उस चीज को यूज करने के लिए विदाउट फेल एक हार्डवेयर सिस्टम भी ज्वाइन होता है, तो वो चीज पेटेंट होगी। लेकिन अगर सिर्फ एक कंप्यूटर एल्गोरिथम है या तो एक सॉफ्टवेयर है, उसको तो कॉपीराइट।
ओके।
I just request that everyone to be on the camera so that I can take a screenshot of all the attendees and the maximum attendees. Thank you so much, madam. It was indeed very informative. It was a wonderful session. And I'm sure that your today's deliberation is going to make things clear for so many of us, so many of the students who are there. And of course, the people like me who are already, at some position, but still I don't have, I was not have this much of information. So thank you so much, madam. As it's just a reminder that we have already shared the feedback form in the chat box. You all the attendees, please do fill that feedback form. It gives us the valuable feedback, and it also motivate us to come up with more such program. So now, with the permission of the convener, Dr. Anil, I would like to put my vote of thanks to all here gathered. A sincere thanks to Dr. Ajay Kumar, the Director of Technical Advanced Studies. He took his time out from his busy schedule and he motivated us, enlightened us with the various approaches and the strategies and the policies which government is coming up for the raising of the uh, intellectual property right awareness, and of course the patent application as far as India is concerned, regarding Kapila, regarding Yukti, National Innovation and Startup Policy, and his focus on Creative India and Innovative India is worth mentioning here. Thank you so much, Director Ajay Kumar, sir. I would also like to thank a sincere thank, a gratitude to the guest resource person, Dr. Usha Rao. Madam, you spoke in length about everything what is required for the awareness of this intellectual property right, and you talk about the patent, design, trademark, copyright, right to authors, SICLD, and most importantly, geographical indications also, and GI tag products. So, madam, thank you so much. You enlightened us not about the why it is important, and but you also made us aware that how we can really go for filing of these patents in rights, and you also just shaken us that how far we are lacking behind. Although we are good in terms of research, but we are not coming up with good number of IPRs.